I want you to take a second and see if any of these sound familiar to you. Are you having trouble going to sleep and then waking up tired? Do you feel moody and anxious or depressed? Are you having trouble concentrating? Does any of that sound familiar? If you checked off any or all of those boxes, then you might benefit from a dopamine detox. I put detox in quotations because it's not really a detox. That's not how it works. Not in the traditional sense of the word, like with alcohol or drugs, which both give their consumers very high levels of dopamine. How and why does dopamine fasting help eliminate these problems? Well, dopamine is the neurotransmitter that is responsible for feelings of reward and motivation. So whenever you do something or consume something that your brain likes, you're rewarded with dopamine, which signals to you to continue doing that activity. When this goes on for too long though, and at high levels of stimulation, your dopamine receptors inside your brain get tired. They downregulate and they stop working as well as they did. So what a dopamine detox really boils down to is just giving those receptors a break from highly stimulating activities like eating sweets and watching TV, scrolling social media, drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, or even consuming drugs. Too often, people can become dependent on these low quality, low effort sources of dopamine. And if they can't manage their dependence, then the consequences will eventually catch up to them. And by avoiding those activities and implementing healthier activities in your life, you are essentially doing a dopamine detox. What are some healthier activities that we can be doing? Well, some of the best that I can think of are exercise, cold exposure, and meditation. All of these things provide us with long-term health benefits as well as short-term dopamine. The ice bath actually, which I have not done yet, if you want to see me do that, go ahead and sub for the tub, has been shown to give a 250% increase in dopamine that's sustained over a number of hours without dropping back down below baseline dopamine. So doing an ice bath is going to give you a big boost in dopamine, but it's not going to give you that crash that other big sources of dopamine give you. Those are just some examples that I could think of. Obviously, they should just fit the parameters, basically. Whenever you're looking for activities to replace, bad sources of dopamine with, just think to yourself, does this give me long-term benefits? Does this benefit me in the long term, or does this just provide me with a quick, easy hit of dopamine that is going to ultimately not do anything for me? Whenever you are experiencing an abnormal level of discomfort, your brain produces dopamine in order to, one, endure the pain, and two, motivate you to get out of it, to get out of whatever is causing you pain. So that's a reason that ice baths give people such a big increase in dopamine. It's because your brain is saying, get out, get out, get out of this. That has also been my experience with cold showers. To a lesser degree, obviously, I imagine the degree of discomfort there will be a correlation between that and the level of dopamine that is released in response to that discomfort. Another one is meditation. Meditation, a lot of people, myself included, can find it pretty uncomfortable. Especially, it's boredom, really. It's the boredom that's uncomfortable. Just sitting there and focusing can be pretty difficult for a lot of people. But it builds discipline. Having the discipline that it takes to just sit there and do that can, boil over into the discipline that it takes to avoid the pitfalls of easy dopamine hits, right? So meditation is a great one. And I've talked about it a lot in many of my videos, but meditation is just all around a great habit to start implementing in your life if you want to improve your life. Another thing that we can do to help cultivate healthier habits is to drink caffeine before we do them. Because caffeine wakes up those dopamine receptors. It doesn't directly give you dopamine like cigarettes or alcohol do. They make your receptors ready again to receive more dopamine. So, for example, let's say you want to exercise. then drinking caffeine before you exercise is a great way to increase the dopamine reward that you get from the exercise, making it more of something you want to do on a regular basis. It's not it's not so much that you are more motivated to go work out, right? It's more that the workout itself is more rewarding. And you got to be careful with this one though, because caffeine can make it can make unhealthy sources of dopamine more rewarding as well. A really common one that comes to mind is coffee and cigarettes. Coffee, cigarettes, throw a little booze in there, you got this trifecta of super easy dopamine that it's going to make anyone who does that feel really good. And that's why so many people become dependent on it. It's just such an easy source of dopamine. That's not what you want. You want hard sources. You want difficult sources of dopamine. And you want to attach the dopamine to the effort itself, not the outcome, right? Not the feeling. You want the good feeling to be associated with the effort, right? That way, you're going to be addicted to the effort. And if you become addicted to the effort, then the eventuality of the rewards, whatever it may be, whether it's a mastered mind from meditation or a more muscular, fit physique, healthier body from exercising, whatever it may be, if you attach the dopamine to the effort, then the results are practically guaranteed. Remaining cautious and aware of the sources of dopamine that you are combining is super important, because they can compound the crash too. And the more you combine, the higher up you go with dopamine, the further down you're going to go on the crash. And it's going to be that much harder for your receptors to recover during a fast. If you're trying to heal your dopamine receptors and get rid of all these symptoms that come with a dopamine deficiency, then it's going to be a lot easier if you're just avoiding those combinations in the first place. One way I've come to look at this is the fasting, right? The fasting aspects, like hunger. You get dopamine from food, and it's a very similar process, right? It's a source of dopamine. And when you fast from food, eventually when you break the fast, the food is going to taste that much better. You're going to get that much more of a reward from eating it, because you haven't in a while, because your receptors are more open, they're rested, they're ready to go, and they're ready for dopamine again. So it's going to taste so much better. And it's just like that. It's just like that. You're just avoiding, like, let's say junk food, like you're eating junk food all the time. That's kind of the comparison. These unhealthy sources of dopamine, or junk food, right? If you're doing those all the time and you eat some healthy food, try and eat some healthy food, it's going to taste like crap, right? But if you fast first, if you slow down on the junk food first, right? If you stop eating the crap and then you go back to eating the healthy food, it's going to taste amazing. And then your brain is going to start associating the healthy food with, tasting better instead of tasting bad. It's going to rewire your brain literally to enjoy the more healthy sources of dopamine if you just take a break or cut out completely the unhealthy sources of dopamine. If you can keep avoiding the sources of dopamine that affect you negatively and move more toward the ones that benefit you in life long term, then that is essentially a dopamine fast. That is a dopamine detox. If you feel like you could benefit from a dopamine detox, let me know down in the comments. I hope with this video I have inspired you, or at least shared with you on some of the how-to. To break it down into a more simple set of 3 instructions, basically, number 1, reflect on your life and think about the sources of dopamine that you get and try and discern which ones of them are healthy or unhealthy. And 2, avoid the unhealthy ones. 3, do the healthy ones more. Pretty simple, but not easy. Alrighty, that's it for day 24 of me challenging myself to post every single day. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button, sub for the tub, hit the bell for more every single day, and I will see you next time. Alrighty, bye-bye.